Hello and welcome to my review of the Eldar Bonesinger. Really like the look of this model ever since I first saw it, but for some reason they pulled him out of circulation. He's only just been made available in the made to order range of Eldar that they released a little while ago, where you put your order down and then they took about a month or so to make them. This model will cost you £10. I think that's quite a decent price, really, considering the Farseer, this one here, also costs £10, and it's just, you know, one miniature, just one piece glued onto the base. Whereas the Bonesinger is 4 pieces, and it comes with its own like little extra rules and things. They've actually incorporated it into the 8th edition gaming system, so that's brilliant. So yeah, I do think it's worth the money. It would be nicer if it was in plastic, or even fine cast for that matter. It would have been a lot easier to build. Maybe they just weren't prepared to go that extra mile and create sort of new molds and stuff for a fine cast version. But I think if they did bring it out in plastic, I think it would sell well. So it just sort of goes in one pose. I mean, you could modify the head a little bit to move it to the side. You could probably modify its flute type thing, because I think it just sort of sings and makes music with this and just starts creating bone. That's how they create their structures and things. It's just remarkable. Absolute pain of a model to build. One, because metal, you can bend it quite easily, so when you're holding pieces in place, you might accidentally bend a part. The mold line's terrible to get rid of, nothing like plastic or resin. I think resin ones are actually probably the easiest ones to get off for fine cast. And obviously it's a heavy model, so putting it on this base, even with the slotter base, we all know from 20 years ago or so that metal slots don't go in that well. You know, definitely not compared to sort of plastic ones where they can make the slot exactly the same kind of dimensions. So yeah, heavy model, so it won't fall over. It's quite, you know, quite solid. There's nothing stopping you really from cutting that gate off and putting it on a 32mm base if you wanted it as like a showcase or something. But it's a lovely pose, just holding on to this bone that he's probably just grown. A lot of detail on the model. It's difficult to sort of pick out because the model is so shiny. But yeah, really nice looking model. And what we'll do is we'll just go through some size comparisons. So compared to the Farseer, I think I just showed you the Farseer. Obviously he's a fair bit taller than the Farseer, but then again he's on a branch right there. Compared to the Autark, I think I've done a size comparison in the Autark review anyway, but compared to an Autark, the Autark is a bit taller, but that's just because of the wing factor. I think if they were both on the same playing field, maybe the Autark would still be a bit taller too, just because of that headrest is a bit taller, but there you go. And then compared to like a Mini Marine, yeah, fair bit taller than a Mini Marine, so it is going to stand out in like a normal Eldar army or even a Space Marine army. Compared to a Primaris, yep, he's taller than a Primaris. You know, if you remove that branch and just put his hand, you could probably say he's almost put his hand on his head there, just saying, you know, you are forgiven, my son. Something like that, I don't know. So this is my part of the review where I'll go through the rules for the model. Now it does come in this really nice, lovely little booklet. It would be great if there were more designs and things in here, but as it stands, just the front one. At the Warhammer HQ, there is an art book, an Eldar art book. I think it's about £30, and that's got illustrations just like that. And I really do wish that Games Workshop brought out more of those, like if they brought out one for the Death Guard and Space Marines and Primaris and things like that, one for each faction. I think they do really well. But anyway, so this Eldar one, it has the image on the front, it has a little icon there, and then it's got the rules and things. Now, I have to say that, you know, although these rules are in different languages, and it's a lovely picture there of him, I do wish that the writing that they use was bigger, because it's in tiny, tiny writing, probably font 6 or maybe even 8, but it's very, very small writing, difficult to read. But I'll try my best. So the Bonesinger, but he is an elite choice and his power level is a 4. And for match play, the model will cost 70 points in total. His movement is 7 inches, so same as normal Eldar. His weapon skill and ballistic skill are 3+, not too bad. His strength and toughness are both 3, same as normal. He's got 4 wounds though, 1 attack, leadership 7, and a save of 6+. However, does have rune armour, so that grants him a 4+ invulnerable save. He's got a Citronome Shaper, which is a melee weapon, strength user, so strength 3, damage D3. So that's the only weapon that he's got, and it only does damage of up to 3. His abilities, he's got Ancient Doom and Battle Focus. Now the other ability is Path of the Shaper. In your psychic phase, this model can re-knit Wraithbone instead of attempting to manifest any psychic powers. If it does so, select a single Craftwell vehicle or Wraith construct model within 3 inches. That model regains D3 lost wounds. A model can only be healed by this ability once per turn. Of course, he's a Psycho 2. A model can attempt to manifest 1 psychic power in each friendly psychic phase and attempt to deny 1 psychic power in each enemy psychic phase, and of course it knows the smite power. So it's a little bit like a Tech Marine, an Eldar Tech Marine. It would have been nice if the range was 6 inches, but I sort of understand that he needs to be quite close to grow or re-knit Wraithbone. That sort of makes sense, so I'll let it off for that. But can you imagine having an Autar next to a Wraith Knight and this next to a Wraith Knight, you know, and the Bonesinger is just re-knitting, you know, 3 wounds a turn, and it's just letting rip with those heavy Wraith cannons. You know, yeah, it can be pretty horrific, all these buffs and things that Eldar have. And that's all I wanted to say about the Eldar Bonesinger. I think it's a fantastic looking model. Really great pose. With the right colour scheme, it will really pop out in your Eldar army. Really fits the aesthetic. And it's so cool to have like a Tech Marine type builder unit in the army. I wish other factions, like, I don't know, Tyranids or something, had a similar kind of unit that buffed up wounds and re-knit stuff and, you know, just did that. I think it's great. I know you possibly couldn't use them in game, but I'd love to see more kind of like civilian units and just models, like a civilian range or something, just to go with your different armies, even if you couldn't use them in the game, even if they had their own game. You know, I think it would be so cool to see, you know, civilians of the different, you know, factions and armies that you can collect. Anyway, what do you guys think of the Bonesinger? Have you used it in a game yet? Did it re-knit as many wounds as you hoped it would? Or did it just die miserably and get eaten by a Tyranid? Please do put all your comments below as always. Thank you ever so much for joining me today. Thank you for watching. The Emperor Protects.